Oh, that's fucking good. That is fucking good. What's up, everyone? I finally found this vape that I like. It's creamy tobacco. Every time I vape, I feel like I'm 16 again. You know what I mean? Just it's like that Zac Efron movie 17 again, but just through a little vape, you know? How's everyone doing here? What is it? Friday, March 14th. Here we are. Today's YouTube live. If you guys are watching and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you have not already, I would be much appreciative if you guys would subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I go live in the future. You just get a little notification. Jamie's going live, so you can see me right here pulling on my vape. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, guys, I would be much appreciative if you would subscribe so that you can be notified when I go live. So here we are. We're going to fucking roll here. If you are watching this live, how's everyone doing? If you're watching this live, what's going on? What's true? What's alive in your space? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Today was a crazy fucking week. Today was a crazy week. Today was crazy. So let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know how you guys are feeling. What's true and alive in your space? If you are watching this live, let me know who you are and where you are tuning in from in the world. Maybe your city and your location, all the lines of longitude and latitude. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. And if you are watching this live, if you're watching the replay, then don't do any of that shit. Just sit right there in the comfortability of your chair and just soak in whatever I'm going to talk about. So just to let you guys know, oh, there's an orb, which is a little fucking crown chakra spaceship flying above. This is not going to be about astrology, even though I did include about the blood moon, whatever the fuck that is, a blood moon. I feel like a blood moon, it's like every woman instantly has their period. Like when there's a blood moon, every single woman's cycle syncs up at the same time. Like, I don't know what a blood moon is, but that's my interpretation of what I suspect it might be. That every single woman, like they create a domino. Like it's a domino with the fucking shedding, right? It's like a domino effect where every woman's bleed syncs up at the exact same time. Like a blood moon, it's like, you know, let's wear some fucking war paint on our face. Let's sync up our vaginas and let's like move into some epic oracle shit. That's what I feel like a blood moon is. So if you guys do know what a blood moon is and it's something different than what I'm talking about here, you can let me know. But yeah, I think it's when just every pussy on the planet syncs up. Just so much psychic power. You know what I mean? Where all of a sudden, like every dude gets fucking blasted by this blood moon. You know what's so interesting? It's like taking astrology advice from a man is like a woman trying to be shown how to put in and pull out a tampon from a dude. Don't you think? Like a woman taking astrology advice from a man is like a dude showing a woman how to put on a fucking tampon. Like that's why this is not going to be about astrology. I just did it for the algorithm. But like that's like my interpretation of like when a dude's an astrologist, like he's trying to tell women about their periods. You know what I mean? He's like trying to show a teenage girl, this is how you put on a tampon. And she's like fucking don't show me that. You know what I mean? So that's why every single astrologer or astrologist, I don't know which one it is female. But this is, like I said, it's not going to be about astrology. So much of just the energy updates that I give just sync up to astrology anyway, because astrology is taking into account what the moon's doing, what the sun's doing, what the fucking planets are doing, what the whole solar system is doing. And so it coincides with ascension, right? So astrology coincides with ascension completely and utterly. But I can't stand astrology a lot of the times because it's just so much verbal diarrhea fucking information. It's just like, oh my God, like it's doing this and it's doing this. And it's like this toilet bowl of fucking just semantic fucking bullshit. It's this toilet bowl of semantic bullshit. And there was this blood moon, which again, it's cool. If a blood moon is when every pussy on the planet syncs up at the exact same fucking time and every woman has their bleed together, I think that's rad. I think that's really cool. But I don't actually think that's what a blood moon is. And the lunar eclipse, you know what I mean? Whatever the fuck that's going to do. But it doesn't matter, because if your body is tuned into ascension, then you're going to feel these things anyway. I have this funny bit where it's like me going on a date with an astrologist or an astrologer. And I'm like, I take her to like the Grand Canyon. I'm like, it's one of the 7 wonders of the world, the 8 wonders in the world. And she's like, oh my God, Jamie, the Jupiter is in North Node. I'm like, the fucking Grand Canyon is right here. She's like, but Jamie, do you know what's happening with Saturn? I took you all the way to the Grand Canyon and you're talking about the planets. You never pay attention. I can't feel you. You don't even think about me. You're always worried about what's happening in the solar system and the planets. I can't feel you. You're always somewhere else. This is me talking to an astrologer, an astrologist. I take you here and I show you this amazing view, one of the ancient wonders of the world, and you're fucking worried about what's going on with the planets? I can't feel you. You're just in your head. You're in the ancient sort of solar system. And then she's like, Jamie, you can't handle how much feminine energy I have. You can't handle how in my feminine. You're not in your feminine. You just change your mind every 2 seconds and you're in the fucking solar system. So it's like the astrologer, the astrologist blames her mania on her feminine energy, because it's just like, oh, it's like this toilet bowl, just constant fucking information. And so all this to say, well, I find astrology interesting. It's just this hypermania toilet bowl of semantic verbal diarrhea, and it fucking just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. And so while I find it interesting, this is not going to be about astrology, right? Again, if the blood moon does in fact mean that every pussy on the planet is going to sync up simultaneously like a domino of vaginal shedding, I think that is fucking amazing. But I don't think that's what happens during a blood moon. Imagine that, like every vagina syncing up at the same time. But the thing is that it wouldn't happen to women who aren't tapped in. So like imagine there's like a party going on, a bunch of women are doing like a prayer circle or a fucking ceremony, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Whatever, the lunar eclipse comes or the blood moon or whatever it fucking is. And every single woman's like, oh my God, I'm bleeding at the exact same time. And then there's one woman, Bridget, who was like invited by a fucking friend and she's not really part of the group. And she's the one woman who didn't get her period, right? She's kind of new to this stuff a little bit. Every woman in the party starts bleeding at the same time. All of a sudden there's this lineup of a bunch of women trying to get in and put a tampon in, right? And every woman comes out of the bathroom and it's got a little fucking cross, the pussy blood, a little cross on their forehead. And there's the one girl, Bridget, who's sitting there. But I didn't get my period. Well, Bridget, obviously your chakras are not in alignment. Bridget, you're obviously in. Poor Bridget, she's sitting there. She was invited by her friend. She's sort of new to this, and her pussy didn't sync up with the blood moon. She's the one girl in the room who didn't get her period, right? So imagine if that's what happened on the blood moon. It was a way of like revealing, Bridget, you got to fucking balance your hormones. Maybe, Bridget, if your hormones were more balanced, then you would have got your period. Bridget is like spiritual Karen. You know what I mean? And it'd be crazy too if Bridget was the actual astrologist. Imagine if Bridget was the one astrologist in the room, and she's like, guys, it's coming. All the other women don't really pay attention to astrology, and they started to bleed. Bridget, she's the astrologist, the astrologer. She's got a ton of followers, 500,000 followers, and she's the one woman in the prayer circle or the prayer ceremony who didn't get her period. So she's the one woman who doesn't have that. When all the Christian people put the cross when it's Lent, I'm going to give up something, and they put on the cross. Bridget, she's the actual astrologer, and she's the one fucking woman who didn't get her bleed. That's what I think of astrologers or astrologists. I feel like you would go on a date with them and they would like be kind of chaotic. And I'd be like, you feel so unembodied. I like, you know what's going on the planets, but like, I can't feel what's going on in your body. And then she would blame it on feminine energy. She'd be like, Jamie, you just can't handle how feminine I am. I think you're just disembodied because this mental, verbal fucking diarrhea of shit. And the thing is, astrologists are like, Jamie, it's the big one today. Jamie, it's the big one today. I promise. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. I do. Genuinely, I do hear you. But I feel like in 2 weeks, you're going to kind of say something the same. You know what's happening with the moon and the sun? No. But you know what? You told me 2 weeks ago that this was the big one. I'm waiting for the fucking world to end, right? I'm sitting here listening to these astrologers and these fucking astrologists, and I'm waiting for the fucking world to end. I want an explosion. I want an earthquake. I want like a massive global tsunami. I want something to happen. If that happens, and this is how most men perceive astrology. Now, here we go again. Here we go again around the toilet bowl of just verbal diarrhea information. Here we go again. By the way, I did not intend for this live to go in this direction, but this is where it's going for right now. We will get back on track, I promise. But every dude is like, you've been saying, I need something to happen. And then the astrologist is like, Jamie, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. What? Nothing ever happens? This is just going around in a circle like I'm a fucking blind dog chasing my tail, right? Like imagine if there was like a blind dog, right? And the blind dog, for some reason, thought that its tail was a stick. A blind dog thought that its tail was a stick. And so it starts chasing its tail, trying to get to the proverbial stick. But it never actually gets to the proverbial stick. And it's like, you do this every month? It's kind of like getting on the like psycho merry-go-round, right? Like, and not only do astrologists do this every month, they do it every day. Every day. We go around the toilet bowl, a proverbial chasing the stick. And I'm like, where are we trying to get to? I legit have this movie idea where one day astrology, there's nothing happening astrologically. Like the moon is chill. The planets stop moving. Everything is stuck in motion. And the pandemonium that happens on Earth, this is legit like a movie idea where there's one day in the moon's, and it starts off with like the astrologer reads the reading. And the reading is like, everything's chill. Not much is happening. Be back tomorrow. And the astrologist reads the information. What? What am I going to do? And then all these people have to face themselves because the planets are not doing anything. The planets are not doing anything for the first time ever. Ever. And just feminine energy has been in chaos. All of a sudden, now we have to go inward. And it starts off with this, and I'm also just making this up on the spot because I don't have this idea fleshed out. But it starts like this domino effect of the astrologers or the astrologists. It begins with them, a domino effect where they have to turn towards themselves. You mean that I can't disembody and worry about the ancient solar system? No. And the whole thing is that the solar system exists in you. The solar system, the moon and the sun, the ancient sort of abyss in the solar system, it exists in you. And you can follow and trust that in you if you drop into you. But it takes the moon and the sun being dormant for, let's say, 48 hours, right? What this is, if astrology chilled out for a day, it would be the apocalypse for feminine energy, right? It would be the apocalypse for feminine energy. all of a sudden, we couldn't disembody to the solar system and what the fuck is happening with the moon and the sun. What is happening with me? What is happening with me? Right? And all of a sudden, sort of that feminine sort of chaos. And I think it's sort of funny, this idea of like astrologists and astrologists blaming this changing their mind every minute, this constant fluctuation on feminine energy, because obviously like it reaches a point where it's not really just feminine energy and it's actually just proverbial sort of mental diarrhea of like cognitively trying to figure shit out all the time. And what would happen if I actually just dropped into my body? And so astrology just chills out for a fucking day. And now we actually have to tune into ourselves without sort of using Saturn and Jupiter as a fucking crutch, without using the moon and the sun. I don't want your fortune cookie astrology reading. I want you to tune into your fucking cells and your DNA and tell me what's happening. I don't want you to put your spirituality through a fucking processing system. I don't want you to use your fucking cartography, lines of latitude system and put this sort of intuitive process through a factory. I don't want any of that shit. And so often this is what happens just with so many different types of spirituality. What it actually does is it creates more of a hyper chaotic mania. Let's just instill more confusion. Let's overwhelm people more. Let's actually disconnect women from their fucking pussies whilst under the veil that we're connecting them to it more. Sure, in the right sort of dose, that's actually another thing too about the addiction with what's fucking going on in the planets. What the fuck is the moon doing? Yes, I understand the biological sort of narrative and imperative with this, but when we become hyper fixed that a woman or women are taking themselves away from their natural psychicness that comes from the body. Because if what we're doing and what we're preaching here is that our body is actually a replica of the solar system, which is why women tend to be the natural oracles, because biologically their bodies are more synced up to the planetary movements than men. But it doesn't mean men can't be oracles and be tapped into this energy. But what about if this is a call to tune into your natural energy and what's true in you? I always say that I have an interest in astrology, but I find it just this toilet bowl of bullshit because it's the merry-go-round of spiritual crack. That's what astrology is. It's a fucking merry-go-round at 1 a.m. at a carnival in the middle of the fucking desert with a bunch of spiritual zombies on crack. That's what astrology really is at its core. And you read it for a moment and it's great, but then you're gonna just play word scramble tomorrow and post some iteration of the same fucking 40 words that you used in the reading today. And then what happens with people? They read their little fortune cookie surface basic bullshit astrology. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I'm driving to my Pilates class and all it is green lights. Oh my God, that's God. I didn't see one red light. Oh my God. You know what? That means that my king is coming. That means that my king is coming. I was driving to my Pilates class and it was nothing but green lights. And my astrology fortune cookie said that all your dreams are coming. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden the YouTube algorithm, it sent me a video that was 1111. Oh my God, it was like this God sort of preaching sort of sermon. Holy shit, you guys, I am so tapped in. I am so tapped in. No, you're on the merry-go-round. You're on the fucking merry-go-round that goes and goes. Then what happens? This woman goes on a date with a dude who's a fucking oracle who's tapped in. He's like, I can't fucking feel your pussy. I can't feel you. Where are you? You're connected to Jupiter, but you're not connected to your own fucking hips. Where are you? I can't feel you. Her face is closed. A man can tell how connected a woman is to her pussy and her heart based off her face. The brightness, the softness, the radiance, the openness in a face. Look at a woman's face and you'll be able to see her relationship to her heart and her pussy. With men, it's more revealed in his directiveness. A man's connection to truth. A man's connection to his radiance is a penetrative energy. Men that are connected to truth, there's a penetrative energy. Whereas women, it's all in the face. It's all in the face. It does include the face for men too, but it's more predicated for you can see a woman's relationship to the pussy and heart connection based off her relationship to her face, how open it is, how inviting it is. And a woman that's not connected to her pussy and heart, you look at her face, you're like, first off, it feels cold, it feels closed, it feels uninviting, it feels protected, it feels I don't know what you're feeling, it feels hard, it doesn't feel soft. It's like a scowl and like a frown and kind of like this like resting bitch face is really just pussy and heart disconnection. Resting bitch face is really just pussy and heart disconnection. But this is what I feel like if I were to go on a date with an astrologer, an astrologist, and I'd be like, oh boy, she's got 500,000 followers. Oh, she must be so connected. This woman must be so tapped in. Then all of a sudden you go there and you look at that face and you're like, I can't fucking feel you. Ooh, your heart feels closed. Your pussy doesn't feel juicy and open. I can't feel you. I thought you had 500,000 followers and you knew what was happening with Jupiter and Neptune and Mercury and Venus and there was an eclipse happening. Why can't I feel any of that? Why can't I feel any of that right here with you in front of me? I'm going to take you to see an ancient wonder of the world, and you're going to tell me what's happening to the fucking planets. You're not present. You know, every woman complains that a dude's not present. Well, I feel like if I was going with an astrologer, an astrologist, I'd be like, you're not present. I can't feel you. Look at this amazing moment that we have created together. But Jamie, do you know what's happening in Neptune? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what's happening in Neptune. Look at this amazing, Jamie, Jupiter, no. If you're dating an astrologist, you got to tell her no fucking planets at the dinner table. Okay? Yeah. You keep your planets and the planetary system in your own little fucking office. Whatever you do there, when you get on your Instagram lives, your 500 fucking thousand followers, you can give your fortune cookie advice. But when we come here at the dinner table and we're going to have a romantic evening, there's no planets. I don't give a fuck about Neptune and Jupiter. Tell me about you. Tell me about your fears. Tell me about your insecurities. Tell me about your vulnerabilities. Tell me about the ways that your ego is getting beaten down so that God can truly come through. No planets at the dinner table. You know what I'd say to her? Guess what? I don't just have Uranus up my asshole. I have the whole fucking planetary solar system, and I don't even need to talk about it. It's just right there. It's right there. I got Neptune, I got Jupiter, I got Mercury, I got Venus. They are all feeding off my prostate. They are all feeding off my prostate, and I don't have to fucking do anything. I sit right here, and I have my own eclipse every single fucking day of the year. Without your fortune cookie advice, without knowing what's happening with the moon and the sun, I don't give a fuck if the moon and the sun are fucking. That's what happens during an eclipse. All of a sudden, the sun gets fucked by the moon. That's what happens during eclipse. The sun gets fucked by the moon, right? The sun is tired. It's like, fucking, I fuel everything here on Earth. I fuel everything here on Earth. And the sun and the moon have this sort of battle with each other. And the moon's like, oh, but the sun's like, I take up more hours of the fucking day. But then the moon's like, well, guess what happens? Whenever there's clouds and rain, you get a break. What about me? When it's nighttime, I don't have any protection. You have the clouds to protect you. So the sun and the moon have this battle. But then during the eclipse, the moon finally gets fucked. Sorry, the sun finally gets fucked from the moon. That's what happens. That's what an eclipse means. Just as a blood moon means that every tapped in woman's pussy aligns and they bleed together. You know, it's like that U2 song, Bloody Sunday. That's what happens during a blood moon. I didn't read fortune cookie advice to know that. I just know that because I have the whole solar system up my butt. It's all there. Every planet. Mercury retrograde, I got it. You know, fucking Uranus, fucking whatever. I don't care. You know, an astrologist is like, guess what, Jamie? Do you know how many fucking houses I have? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how many homes you have. She's like, but Jamie, do you no, I don't care how many houses you have. You know, if I was like, you know, sort of a solar system gold digger, I might care how many planets or how many houses you have. But guess what? They're all fucking empty. With all your fortune cookie advice, I don't care. You know, and that's what happens to an astrologer or an astrologist when they get really insecure is they start bringing up, well, Jamie, I got a 10th home. How many homes do you have? You know, I have like 500 houses and they're all fucking up my ass. Seriously, I have like 500 homes, they're all up my ass. Every single, you know, astrological option that's what astrologists do. They have a little astrological sort of algorithm. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing when you pull a slot machine in Vegas. That's what astrologists have. Like every morning they like let's put it in the system here and all it scrambles together. And then they get some bullshit fed to them, some fortune cookie fucking advice, right? And they have all these different sort of options. Like I have all of that in my body every day, and I don't have to put it through this system. It's just there. So I think right now, this is what this is trying to teach us. This is what this is trying to teach us. Get out of the rat race. Get out of the spiritual sort of rat race. And what is the truth in your body? Right? This is why you see so many spiritual people that are spiritual influencers, but then you get in front of them or you like listen to them fucking speak and they're not fucking tapped in. They're not truly wise. They just apply shit through a system. They apply shit through an algorithm. What it basically means is spirituality becomes an algorithm. That's what it means. Right? So when you read your fortune cookie astrology advice, that's not someone channeling. That's someone that has applied an algorithm and has been fed out a little fortune cookie for you to take with you. And then you read that, and it's kind of the same thing. You're just getting fucked just enough. You're not really going to be fucked a savory fuck, but you're just going to get some surface little bullshit. Right? You're going to get something on the surface and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so spiritual. I'm so spiritual. Look at me go. Got the angel numbers. I got my astrology reading. I got my little algorithms. I got my fucking human design. Look at me go. I'm integrated. But really, we've never died. Really, we've never really truly experienced what happens when our ego gets plowed over and beaten. That's what's happening right now. God is trying to come fully alive inside of you. Right now, Spirit is saying to you is you have to fully walk through the door. What it means is everything, all the illusions and ways that you have been hiding have been exposed. That's what happens during an eclipse. Maybe. I don't know what happens during an eclipse, but I just know what happens during an eclipse. The sun gets fucked from the moon. Let's break that down. When the sun gets fucked by the moon, really what that means is your shadow is going to be exposed. I don't know if that's true. I don't follow astrology, but intuitively it feels correct. Again, I'm not applying the algorithm. I'm just pulling from my anus. That's what's happening here. So during the eclipse, the sun gets fucked from the moon. Now, all of a sudden, our shadow is illuminating, meaning every single aspect of our shadow and our ego that is holding on and gripping on. Now is the eclipse. And guys, I'm making this all up. I have zero idea. And the sun passes through the moon, And as the sun is revealed on the other side, more of your godly state gets revealed to you. More of your godly state gets revealed to you, meaning during the eclipse and the lead up to the eclipse, all your shadow gets revealed, all this shit, right? Right? So it's preparing for the moon to fuck the sun. In that preparation, all of your ego meaning the old identities that no longer are working for what you're stepping into, all the ways that fear is keeping you in some form of an illusion of safety. It's all exposed, right? That's why people are taking a beating right now. You're getting dick slapped by God, right? Before God jumps on your dick, he punches you in the dick. Right now, we're getting punched in the dick. But I'm probably the only one here talking who has a dick. So, you know, you get the old Donald Trump punch in the pussy. Like that's what happens in the beginning, right? In the lead up to the eclipse, you get punched in the pussy. You get punched. Shh, they're listening. You get punched in the pussy, right? And that means the moon is getting all charged up. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, baby. I feel that heat coming. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, baby. And the sun just is like, fuck. Oh, God damn it, God. Do I have to get fucked? Right? The sun's pleading with God, pleading with Mother Earth and the ancient universe. I don't want to get fucked from that moon. Fuck, this shit's scary, right? That shit's like, you know, the sun is freaked out by the moon because it changes. It's like sometimes it's like a little sliver and sometimes it's really fucking full, right? And the sun's freaked out because, like, you know, the moon determines women's periods. And they're like, the sun's like, that's some weird voodoo shit. Like the moon's a fucking witch, right? The sun's a little more like straight and narrow, you know, the sun's a little more within the lines, but the moon's some like weird witchy voodoo sort of werewolf shit, right? And so the blood moon comes, right? So every woman's pussy aligns, right? So we're getting punched in the pussy, and then all the shedding and the bleeds happen simultaneously, and then the sun's like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm about to be fucked by this moon who just made every vagina on earth align together. I don't want this. God, do I really have to get fucked by this moon? I think the eclipse is what, March 20th or 21st? I'm making this up. And I think that's a spring equinox. You guys, I don't know anything about astrology, okay? But March 20 and 21st is the spring equinox, right? Means something's going to blossom. Something's going to fucking bloom that's never bloomed before. The sun is pleading with God. I don't want to get fucked by this moon. I don't trust it. Do you know what it just, the amount of blood, right? It's a fucking bloodbath. The sun's like, it's a fucking bloodbath out there. You know how many people are bleeding together? Like this is like war. This is like a sacral warfare. Like I don't trust this, but God's like, you have to. You got to get fucked by the moon. You have to get. Then all the fucking angels are like, yeah, you got to do it. You know, they have a vote up there in heaven somewhere. And they're like, yeah, sorry. This is an eclipse. And this is a really, really big one. Sun, you are doing everyone here on earth a solid. You are doing everyone here on earth an absolute solid by getting fucked by this moon. Right. And so I swear, like, you know, during that eclipse, like that moon is like just, it's a fucking war zone, right? It's blood everywhere. The blood moon in the lead up to the eclipse. And then the sun gets fucked. And it's the peak of all of our shadow coming to the surface. For me as a dude, Uranus gets really strong in my prostate, right? It begins to pulse. Uranus gets really, really strong. When that eclipse, and I think this is what happens for dudes, right? Dudes get a real prostate pulse in their ass when the eclipse fully comes to the sun. When the eclipse and the sun come together, dudes don't feel astrology, but they get a real fucking push in the ass. It's like getting pegged by God, you know? It's like getting ass fucked by God. You get pegged by God when the moon fully merges with that sun for that moment, right? So every dude's up there, you know, has the glasses, and all of a sudden they're looking around like, oh, do you feel that? And it's kind of like, imagine that experience where like a dude was getting energetically pegged and there were a bunch of dudes were all in the room at the same time. So here's the other part of the bit, right? That's how you can tell a guy's tapped in, when he gets energetically pegged during an eclipse, right? So a bunch of guys out there watching the eclipse, you know what I mean? Bunch of dudes drinking their kombucha, you know, they got the fucking drum, whatever fucking bullshit they do, fucking men's group. And there's one dude named Mike. He's the only guy who doesn't get energetically pegged during the eclipse. And imagine how weird that scene would be when a bunch of dudes are looking at the eclipse, but they also feel like they're getting energetically pegged in their prostate, but they don't know it's happening to other people. Imagine that scene on these guys' faces trying to like figure out what's happening. Do I enjoy this? Am I the only one am I going crazy? Am I going crazy? I can't show anyone that I like this. So it's this real kind of like, but the whole thing for dudes in this moment is they have to embrace pleasure, right? In this moment, they have to embrace pleasure. So eventually, at some point during the eclipse, when the moon fucks the sun, right at midnight, when Cinderella, you know, loses her other shoe, right? Then dudes embrace pleasure. I don't care if people see me in my joy. I don't care if people see me in my pleasure. I don't give a shit, right? And there's a bunch of dudes that are holding shame and guilt because they're getting fucked in the ass by God energetically. And they're like, I can't show that I'm enjoying this, right? That one guy, Mike, is the only guy who's not getting pegged. And that's why Bridget and Mike are perfect. Bridget's the one girl who didn't get her period. And Mike's the one guy who didn't get ass fucked by God. They're perfect for each other, right? They're perfect for each other because they're just not tapped in. They're not tapped in, right? And so the dudes embrace pleasure, right? And then the sun or the moon moves past and it's trying to open up a new timeline of joy and pleasure, right? For women, right, it's about getting your period and all the feminine periods syncing up together. And for the dudes, it's all about getting ass fucked simultaneously and moving into a new timeline of pleasure. And so it reveals, you guys, I don't know anything about astrology, but this is my astrology reading, okay? Really important. Blood moon, lunar eclipse, whatever the fuck that means, right? And so the moon is right there against the sun, right? Shadow is peak. So everything that no longer aligns with your path forward is revealed. Everything that no longer aligns with your path forward is revealed. And it's at its peak during the eclipse. You're trying to move from suffering to pleasure. Will you allow yourself to step into your power? There's been a timeline that's been trying to come through you in your life. Your ego has been holding on. Fear has been holding on. Will you allow the world to see you in your pleasure? Will you allow the world to see you in your joy? Will you allow the world to see you in your power? If you're a feminine being, will you allow the world to see you have the softness and the brightness on your face where it looks like your pussy and your heart are wide open, right? That's what happens, right? When a woman has the cross with her period blood on her forehead, she is saying to the universe, my pussy and heart are connected, right? And when a guy outreaches his arms during the eclipse and just enjoys the pleasure in his ass, he's saying, it's safe for me to be my joy. I'm not going to hold shame if other men know that I like this, right? That's where the erogenous zone is for a man. It's in his ass, right? This is how we shift timelines, right? This is the reason why all of this is happening astrologically, right? This isn't fortune cookie advice, right? This isn't the verbal diarrhea. This is the biological truth of what's happening during this lunar eclipse and the blood moon, okay? This is what we're in the middle of. So I believe the moon is going to fuck the sun in a week. Like right now, my ass is telling me that. I haven't actually looked it up, but my ass is telling me that in a week, shadow is going to fuck light one last time. The moon's going to fuck the sun, right? And it's going to reveal all the ways that we haven't allowed ourselves to be in the highest timeline of our pleasure and our joy. So maybe we stay off the, spiritual crack addict merry-go-round of a bunch of astrologists in the desert. Like, imagine if a bunch of astrologists were hanging out. I feel like it would just be hypermania of just a bunch of like disembodied vaginas all hanging out together. And just be like, what the? It'd be like a merry-go-round, like a spiritual crack merry-go-round in the middle of the desert. Be like, what the fuck is going on here? This is crazy. And you'd move into that vibration and frequency. You'd be like, whoa, I feel so unstable right now. And they'd be like, you just need to read another one of my fortune cookie advice. And then, well, maybe the lesson is that all your advice about moving into my body is actually what's making me disembodied. Maybe all your advice about telling me what's happening with my pussy or my period is what's actually disconnecting me from my natural fucking cycle. So maybe you're trying to render me disembodied and sever me from myself so that I have to buy into whatever bullshit you're saying. I'm just posing this as a possibility. Maybe you're trying to manipulate me into your spiritual crack addict, sort of disembodied, sort of desert chaos vibe, when I could really just watch Jamie's astrological readings that he's doing from the center of his prostate, and maybe it might invite me into myself, right? Because every day getting sucked into a toilet bowl, you know what I mean? It's, oh my God, today's the day. Today's, give me some more vague. I love astrological advice because it's really, really, it's beautiful, poetically vague. Beautiful, prophetic, poetic vagueness, right? It's let's how beautifully and complexly vague can we be? And it's I could probably apply that to someone say, oh my God, they're speaking to me. And some other fucking bitch is he's speaking to me. Oh my God, how do they know? How do they know? Then you just, put more money in the fucking Vegas slot machine. Give me another reading. Give me another reading. Oh my God. I saw a green light, then I saw an angel number. I don't even know what's happening in my pussy, but I trust this. I trust this. Put another fucking coin in the slot machine. Give me another reading. Oh my God, I'm so tapped in. I have 500,000 fucking followers. I take her to the Grand Canyon. She doesn't give a shit. See, Jamie, Jupiter's doing some crazy thing. This is one of the 8 wonders of the world. Look at this. This was God made. This is God. But Jupiter's in North Node, Jamie. Mercury's in... No planets at the fucking dinner table. Meanwhile, she leaves all her fortune cookie advice in her little fucking office. She's got one of those little ring lights. I'm going to get the perfect lighting, put on my lipstick, put on my makeup, get my titties out, give this fucking advice right here. Let's post some bathing suit pictures of me. I'm an astrologist. I'm so spiritually tapped in. Here's me in Palm Desert at Coachella. Here's me by the pool. Look at me. I'm fucking just, oh yeah, I'm so fucking tapped in. I don't trust you. I don't trust you, right? I got the whole solar system in my anus, right? And I know the moon is about to get fucked by the sun. That's all I care about. I feel it. Got a little tickle, right? God punches you in the pussy before he eats your pussy, I think is the right way to say it, right? So right now, God's punching us in the dick and punching us in the pussy. But in a week, the moon's going to fuck the sun. And our shadow's going to be at its peak, right? So the next week, we're transitioning, right? From dark to light, from shadow to ecstasy, right? And we're going to move into this space where we're going to move into our destiny and what we're being called to, right? You don't need to pull a fucking tarot card, right? You don't need to go online and, fucking read 25 astrologists' fucking beautifully vague posts about the energy, right? That's really coming from a Vegas spiritual slot machine. It's not coming from her, biological feminine nectar. It's coming from a fucking algorithm. I don't give a shit about your algorithm. You tell me you're connecting me to my pussy, and I think you're disconnecting me to it, right? So I'm just going to sit here, and I'm going to tune into my ass, right? And I'm going to figure out what's going on. right? The lunar eclipse is coming. The blood moon is coming, right? So all the feminine periods are going to sync up at the exact same time, right? And that's going to happen right at the peak when men get ass fucked by God, right when that lunar eclipse hits the sun. Our shadows at a peak ferocity and velocity. And then we move into this space where the path forward is going to be revealed. Everywhere the ego is holding on, everywhere fear is gripping and holding on tight, it is going to be revealed and it is going to be released. And you're going to be called to step into the light that you've been afraid to step into through guilt and shame. You're going to step into where you have been called and fully walk through the door. And on March 22nd or 21st, when that moon is done fucking the shit out of that sun, that path is going to be revealed. And that's your astrology advice for today from a man. And getting astrology advice from a man is the same thing as a man trying to tell a woman how to put a tampon in. So there you go. You can take that with a grain of salt. I think the reading's done. Oh man, that's fun when you have no idea what's going to happen and then that happens. And it's like, what did we just do here? What did we just do here? We just told this. We went somewhere, you guys. We told a story. We told the story like that. Like that's a story, right? That's a story worth telling and a story worth sharing. So if you guys resonate with this, share it with a friend, share it with your friend who's on the spiritual crack merry-go-round in the middle of the fucking desert outside Reno, Nevada, right? Share that with your spiritual girlfriend who's on the spiritual crack addict merry-go-round outside of fucking Reno, Nevada. Tell her to stop pulling on the spiritual slot machines and get into her real feminine nectar, okay? That's what I want you to tell her. So we'll leave that there, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. You can be updated when more videos such as this go live. And yeah, I hope you guys resonate with that. I hope you guys really found that profound and really prophetic, what I was sort of channeling there as we just move into this blood moon and the lunar eclipse. So I feel really strongly about that. I feel really strongly about this. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm just going to continue feeling into my anus for the rest of the weekend and just see what else kind of other insights come from that. So we'll be sharing shortly. We'll be sharing soon. So wishing everyone a wonderful weekend ahead. And get off the merry-go-round, eh? Get off the fucking. You get fucking dizzy, right? You get fucking dizzy. You get tired, right? And you want to get off. Like, you got to wring out those sea legs. Let's get back to planet Earth here. So much love, everyone. Wish you guys a great weekend, and we'll fucking see you in the next reading or live, I guess. See you later, everyone.